What's good and welcome back. I just watched episode 3 in New York like 2 days ago. And I just got back home. I'm going to make a little video about it. And I'm not really one to leak. I've never made a Bleach leak video. I'm never going to make a Bleach leak video. Leaks, I feel like kind of ruins the experience for a lot of people. And it does more harm than it helps. And so I'm just gonna go over it. I watched the video in person, so I feel like there's a little bit of leeway here, and it's not really leaking. It's talking about something that I had actually seen myself. And if you're watching this, you will have it spoiled. So at your own discretion, watch this. I'm really glad I got to watch this episode that leaks, because I think so far toward the end of Cour 2 and for the first 2 episodes of Cour 3, I've seen some spoilers, even if it's one frame. I don't want to see anything at all. I'm a manga reader. I've seen it all, but I think this is now the territory where even anime, or even like people who's finished the manga, novels, everything, we're getting into the territory where we don't really know what's happening. They're rearranging a lot of scenes, or adding a lot of anime additions, and this episode was absolutely insane. I don't know what's better than 28. I feel like it kind of is. I feel like if you like fights, then you like 28, but if you like story, lore, additions, all that stuff, more backstory, you're going to absolutely prefer 29, because 29 had so much stuff that I couldn't have even hoped for. I didn't think they were going to do this well with it. Again, this is just my opinion, but the backstory with Jusuro and Ukitake, or Ukitake and Shunsui, bro, it's so amazing, so good. I absolutely loved it, and I hope that they do the same thing for Bazby and Jukram. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get into it. So, flashback 1. This is where the episode starts. Now, I'm going to read this off, and then I'm going to give my thoughts about it, okay? So, Flashback 1, episode begins with Ukitake flashbacks and his parents in front of Mimihagi praying, and we see a drop of tear comes from the statue and flows in toward Ukitake. So, we've already seen the shrine. We've seen it once. I think in Cour 1 or Cour 2, Ukitake was actually praying in front of it, giving more, like, kind of foreshadowing, I guess, or callback / foreshadowing, whatever you want to call it. People are technical. For the whole Mimihagi right hand, stealing his Soul King thing whenever he takes the place of Reo, which happens in this episode. It looked good, by the way, the statue. So after the shadow forms before Ukitake, we see Ukitake in a world of stillness and calmness, which is a water ground, and we see him wiping up a tear, forming a puddle in his hand. So basically, you're in a sort of, it's just kind of like a white background, a white sort of really pastel bluish maybe, but mostly white background. You see Mimihagi on the left, Ukitake on the right, and it's very how do you say, I don't want to say emotional, but kind of cinematic, kind of like something is happening. Okay, it's like that, something like big is happening. Anyway, we see after that Ukitake is he gets really big, and then Mimihagi like comes out of him, and it's not. At least I didn't really see any. People are asking me if it was CGI. If it's CGI, it was really good CGI, or maybe I was just locked in because I really didn't notice any CGI. Just saying, like, that's just me. It seemed all like 2D. I'm sure Pranita's gonna be CGI, but for Mimihagi, it just kind of wasn't. Like the statue was 2D, and then the black was like all just effects, So after this, we see flashback 2. So yeah. Then we see a little older Ukitake. This is like teenage, maybe maybe tween / teen Ukitake, trying to save a woman who's kind of being bullied, and the woman kind of lands a punch on the bully. It's pretty funny. And she tell Ukitake to join the Soul Reaper Academy. Yeah. Okay. Actually, I don't know if that was the girl telling it to the guy, or if whatever. This is worded weird because this is my tweet, but I remember the guy actually told or Ukitake told the guy who was bullying the old lady to join the Soul Reaper Academy. So that guy kind of got no diffed by the girl and by Ukitake, so that was kind of funny. Okay. So flashback 3, cut forward, we see Ukitake in the Soul Reaper Academy sparring with Kid Shunsui in front of Sasuke, young Retsu, and young Yama. So here we see a little sparring, like kind of what we've seen between what not what Toshiro was doing, but kind of maybe what Renji and Rukia were doing, but like they were actually fighting. And I think this is such a Kubo scene. It's not any insane fight. It's just a little bit of sparring with wooden swords. That's all. It's not like actual fighting. But I think it's funny because in Club Outside, somebody actually asked Kubo if there's any fight that hadn't happened yet, what would you want it to be? And Kubo said a fight between Ukitake and Shunsui. He said they were both dual-wielding swordsmen, and it would make for a very interesting fight. So to see that little sparring segment here, you definitely know Kubo had a heavy hand, as we know in the involvement of this scene here. So it's also a really touching scene, but like the whole crowd was kind of like laughing a little bit, and I don't know, just you could tell they were happy seeing old Yama because he's dead now, old Sasuke because he's dead now, and old Unohana. All three of those, or not old, but young. Sorry, young. All the people who's not here anymore because 1,000 Rebuttal were, and we see them now. Very kind of what is it? A very touching scene. Nothing super emotional about this one specifically, but you see these people that aren't here with us anymore in a young form and how they used to get along and all that, and just the interactions too between Jushiro, Ukitake, and Shunsui. Very emotional, I guess. I'm not gonna lie, this episode did make me shed a little bit of a tear. I didn't cry or anything, but it I feel like it was emotional. It just depends how much you like Shunsui and Ukitake, I suppose. So anyway, we see some funny scenes of Ukitake and Shunsui, and we see Ukitake's siblings, and there's this little funny bit where they're eating like these treats and like they end up having alcohol in them, and then the kids run up and take them, and then Jushiro's like, oh no, you can't have those, and then Shunsui's like laughing. And anyway, after that, Ukitake shows Mimihagi's shrine and explains about it to Kuryaku, but Kuryaku already knows about it. Shunsui Kuryaku. So they're kind of talking about the lore here. This is more lore that I feel like it wasn't in the manga of Mimihagi, and just the lore behind it, and about how Shunsui believed it and all that. So I think at this point, Shunsui knows maybe the situation that's going on with Ukitake and Mimihagi, or at least kind of speculates something about it. Shunsui tells him he won't let him die. Then we see them walking from the shrine through all seasons in a beautiful scene. Now this one's gonna hurt, man, because manga readers know what's happening this episode, and this one is going to freaking hurt. It hurt me. This is around the time where I shed a tear. I'm a little tearing up right now, man. Damn it. It's a very beautiful scene. There's, you see them in their what is it? What are they called? Shihakushos, these like white academy robes, and they're just kind of walking through, like fallen leaf trees. Very beautiful background here as they talk, and it's kind of a montage in a way. Very, very pretty scene. Flashback 4. Then we see after they both became captains, we see Ukitake sad from Kayen's death, and Ukitake and Central 46 being investigated. Both Ukitake and Central 46 knows Mimihagi played a role indirectly for his death, so they gave him a new lieutenant. So here we do see Ukitake. We see Jushiro kind of standing his ground here. So Jushiro, bro, standing his ground in front of Central 46. Those old men are kind of pissed off at him, but who cares, bro? Shunsui definitely standing his ground here. And I do like, this is one thing I haven't seen many people leak on Twitter, the people that's watched it or just the regular leakers, is the mention of Kayen a bit. I feel like more people would have talked about that, and I haven't seen literally a single person at all. I even talked about it in the group chat. I'm like, I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to mention it, but no one, there's something that was mentioned I haven't seen anyone talk about yet, and everyone knows how big of a deal Kayen is with the whole Shiba clan and all of that. Anyway, especially if you're a manga reader. Anyway, so going forward, flashback 5. We see Ukitake, Shunsui, and Unohana after Yama's death in a captain meeting area looking at Yama's broken sword. That was sad. Very sad. And we see sad talks. Shunsui tells how hard it is to give orders, and we see Ukitake and Unohana saying a final goodbye to each other. Not in a goodbye word to word, but in a sense. Yeah, definitely in a sense. Visual storytelling is everything, and the way they're implementing it in the anime, I thought was not impossible, but I don't know, a little bit butchered or a little bit botched. That's the same reason I don't think, they're doing a good job with Villain Saga. I don't think Vagabond can ever receive, an amazing adaptation. Never one that's going to surpass the manga. I know like 90% of manga or anime don't surpass the manga. Some do. I feel like maybe AOT does, bro. I don't know. But this is a moment. This is definitely a good moment. Where the visual storytelling is up there with the manga for sure. And I guess this is pretty much the time where Shunsui is kind of feeling the weight of having to give orders and everything since Yama's gone, and he's kind of stepping up and taking the role. So into flashback. Straight. In between the flashbacks, there were a small scene of him telling everyone about Mimihagi and taking his clothes off and taking a place in the middle of the lab. Talk goes similarly of how it was in the manga. You know. After that, we see Mimihagi off his back, Ukitake coughing blood. Mimihagi goes up, and Ukitake is in really bad condition. So yeah, he's coughing up blood, and Mimihagi comes out of his back, shoots up into the sky, and grabs the crystal of Ryo, as we see in the manga. We see Rukia try to convince Ukitake to stop. No one else even tried. Many people are not even looking at Ukitake because of how terrifying it is. It was pretty terrifying. He was like screaming and like he looked like he was in agonizing pain, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. Scene cuts to Yuhaba. We see all the gang attacking him. And this is the crazy thing that I've seen some people talking about is Chad actually punched Yuhaba, or at least tried to. It kind of got parried or blocked because, Yuhaba catches it, obviously. But he just run up, punches him, and his hand meets the center of Yuhaba's, kind of just like that. So, bro, like, even in early Bleach in the anime and the manga, we see Chad fight Shunsui, future captain now, and no diff fight, obviously. Now, for the manga editions, we've seen we've seen Chad now block Uryu's arrows before he left, and now we're seeing him actually make way with Yuhaba here in a little mini clash, if you want to call it that. So, bro fought the head of the Shinigami, now he fought the head of the Quincy, bro, and he blocked Uryu's arrows. So, Chad agenda, bro. I swear, Kubo, I really hope he delivers, or at least, I mean, it would be cool if he did, delivers Chad's best fight yet, bro. There's no way I really hope that he gets a fight here because they're making him strong, bro. I mean, like, he was already strong. He was already very strong. People downplay him, but he was very strong, same as Renji. But he just didn't get a big battle in Thousand Year Blood War, I suppose, but maybe the anime is going to fix that, man. Pretty crazy. So going forward here, we see a sad scene of Ukitake and Rukia talk in between of what will happen to Squad 13. Scene cuts to Yuhaba. Everyone's I already read that. Ganju throws smoke as he does. Yorichi too. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Chad and Yorichi run up, and then with both of his arms, he catches the punch, catches the kick probably, knowing Yorichi's fighting style. So Mimihagi comes up, and Yuhaba gets mad. Now, this is a cool thing. I think the anime done better than what I was hoping here for how the Almighty actually works. We see it whenever he's fighting and Treachery plays. So cold, bro. He stole Asen's theme. We seen Treachery play when Yuhaba opened his eyes and was kind of no-diffing Ichibe. He went for the cut. We see the black and white flash in the eyes, and then he kind of teleports, and it happens like 2 or 3 times that battle. And there's like a sound effect and a visual effect. You can tell that's when the future is being changed. You can tell the actual specific moment where it's being used. And I think that's awesome that they're doing in the anime. And one thing I think is cool, we know how the stillness, Uryu, Mimihagi, Ukitake, whatever. We know that stillness is a counter kind of to the Almighty because it doesn't reflect on his eyes. And as he looks, and he's actually surprised when Mimihagi comes up and grabs a crystal. I think he turns around even, possibly. He looks at the crystal, looks at Mimihagi, and this is a special effect they done that I thought was really cool. It showed his eye, it showed Mimihagi in his eye, and then it cracked, like his eye kind of cracked. His eye cracked, as if the Almighty didn't work, as if like it was actually not breaking the Almighty, but it was like a counter to the Almighty. You could tell that Mimihagi was not working on the Almighty. You look at the eye, and then it kind of like cracks in a way. It's just like a split second. He's not actually being harmed by Mimihagi. I don't want to mention or like kind of word this bad, but by the crack in the eye, you can just tell Mimihagi's not working on the Almighty like it has, like, other things have. So whenever the Almighty is being activated and it works, we see a cool effect in the anime, and whenever it doesn't or something blocks it, we also see a cool effect. So I think this is going to be a cool, not setup, but we can be hopeful about whatever you think. I'm not going to spoil anything, but whatever you believe Ichigo's true Bankai to be, whatever you believe it to be, whatever you think Ichigo's power is, however you think Ichigo beat Yuhaba, I think there's going to be a very cool effect here if it's actually showing how the Almighty is being used and how it's not being used with these flash effects and crack effects. Like, I could only imagine that final slash Ichigo takes on the Yuhaba. I can only imagine what effect is going to happen there, but I think it's going to be very, very interesting, and I'm hopeful that they do portray it well because they have so far. I'm going to timestamp this actually because I'm going to put that little bit I just talked about on Twitter. What is that? 1443. Okay. Anyway, going forward, I love this line so much, bro. We see an amazing scene, but like he said, you is crazy, man. That's funny. Anyway, we see an amazing scene of Ukitake quoting Cayenne's line, Rukia, there are two types of battle, one to protect people and one to protect honor. And we've seen that with the flashback with Cayenne and Rukia in OG there and in the manga. So scene transfers to Shunsui and Mukin and completes the quote, one to protect the people and one to protect honor. He cares for Ukitake. I love the way they done that too. The transition there was amazing. We also see captains trying to make the gate at Kinpachi. All right. No Kinpachi at okay. Aizen scenes. So this was cool, bro. I thought it was awesome. And Aizen looked so good and he sounded so good. And he actually got a new OST, which is creative. I'll say that. I'm not going to say if it's better or worse than Treachery. I want you guys to find out for yourself. But if anything, I'm not gonna say if it's better or worse. I'm just going to say what I thought about it, not good or bad, just the style of the song. So I would say Treachery is more opera-ish-esque. It's like an opera style, like, you know, not the violins, but like singing wise, like, I can tell that you're acting so fear, you know, like that. And the new one sounded more modern in a way, and that's all I'll leave it at. You know, it sounded more modern. Anyway, so I don't want to go over the whole scene here, honestly, because it's just kind of it's very reflective of the manga. But I think the scene where the OST starts playing as soon as Aizen cuts the hand of the guy who runs up to him to try to restrain him. And bro, whenever Aizen got instilled, and like whenever he undone the one on his ankles and he walked up and he said, and like you seen the foot go forward, bro, and then Aizen, the first thing that came out of Aizen's mouth, or the whole crowd went wild, bro. It was so nice. Well, maybe not wild, but the crowd definitely had a reaction to that for sure. It's like, so you have like 2 more, 3 more, whatever keys to use, bro. It was so cool, bro. Everyone, that is like Aizen aura, bro. Absolutely raw. And then I believe this is an anime edition. One small thing we did see in the scene was whenever Aizen cut the hand of the guard, he mentions how or Kuryaku's like, what are you doing? As he runs up and he gets his hands cut. But this is the anime original part. Aizen, there's a spiritual pressure kind of effect. Aizen said, whatever, how, I don't know. Well, I don't know what word to use. How like, I don't know, idiotic or whatever, something like that. It wasn't idiotic, but how arrogant, whatever, to walk up to me like that. Something of those words. He said, bro, Aizen was crazy. I like, bro, I need to watch that scene again. For sure. But basically he talked about how the chair doesn't stop his SP but only limits the range on it, and we see that whenever he gets taken up. But whenever this happens, we actually see a purple spiritual pressure effect on his eye, as like the spiritual pressure kind of like bounces off of it, or we see it like flow like over it in a way, because you can see like the actual part where his SP is being restrained in a way. But the purple, bro, the purple fits him so well. Like Aizen owns the color purple, bro, and I cannot wait to see those dragons in I cannot wait to see Keto 99. Like, oh my god, bro, it's gonna be so raw. So you see a cool shot of Aizen in his barrier, kind of the one over the eye that I was talking about. Episode ends with Aizen replying to Shunsui, fresh air of Soul Society that is going to be destroyed by Yuhaba. Bro, like every single time, like Aizen, he was so raw, bro. Any word he said, like I'm like, oh well, Shunsui said something back, like, oh, I guess you do want to go breathe the air of Soul Society, don't you? And like he just kept coming back with such a witty remarks, bro. Like he bitched Shunsui, he kind of owned him there in the dialogue there. But definitely, fights never really carry anything for me. I don't care if something's animated well. I don't care like whatever cool punches they do. That's just a lot of the time that's just left up to the animators and the directors. So who cares? What really carries it for me is consistent writing and lore and actual story, because fights can happen in any series. You can have good or bad writing, as we've seen in so many series, and it can have a cool or a bad fight. They don't correlate at all. So I don't think fights, to an extent, fights can carry, but I feel like if anything, 51% of your opinion should be about the lore, or not yours, because everyone likes stuff differently, or at least 51% of my opinion is about the lore, bare minimum. And this was definitely a lore-heavy episode. Both were. 28 and 29 were definitely both lore-heavy episodes, but I think 29 was, because of the flashbacks and everything, was definitely one that I liked a bit more compared to 28. 20 had an amazing fight. Very cool fight, bro. We get some really cool impact scenes with the ground going up in blocks. We got to see the whole I guess this is a mixed opinion. The whole Dragon Ball-esque fight with the auras and the clashing in the air is a boom, boom, boom. You don't really see them. I think that is awesome. I absolutely love that. So that fight was really awesome too, bro. Then, you know, I'm not going to go on about 28, but, you know, if you like fights, you like 28. If you like lore, maybe you like 29 better. But both episodes had lore and only one had fights. But I do prefer the lore in this one because it did a lot of flashbacks and stuff. But that is going to be it for this episode. Why did I say episode? This video. The episode is amazing, bro. I hope you guys like it. I don't want to overhype it, but I like it better than 27, and I like it better than 28. 29 is my favorite so far. Anyway, if you have any questions, I don't want to spoil anything, you know, that I haven't said in this video in the comments. Or actually, you know what? If you click on this video, like I said at the beginning, it's at your own discretion. So if you comment anything down below, I will answer it. If you have any question at all about the episode, I will answer it. If you want to ask anything in the Discord or on my Twitter, I will answer it. Probably not on Twitter, but probably on Discord or in the YouTube comments. Any question at all. Anyway, that's all I got for today. I really like the episode. Favorite in the course so far. If you didn't enjoy, make sure to comment, subscribe. This has been Alekai. I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.